So starting next week, you're going to do a bioecological portrayal. And this week, you're just going to start thinking about it, brainstorming for it, and getting to know the instructions and seeing about any questions that anybody has. And that's why this is put in discussion format so that you can ask questions of me and other people also get the same answer without having to have any kind of miscommunication. It's all the same, and without everybody having to reach out. This way we can discuss. Maybe somebody will have some ideas that would help others. So here we go. The directions for the bioecological portrayal assignment are right here. So the purpose is to provide you an opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of your own experiences, to enable you to understand the uniqueness of all families and how, as early childhood professionals, we can serve families with compassion and understanding. By creating a personal bioecological portrayal using Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, it is the intent that you will be able to reflect on your own personal experiences that will help you share your understanding of how children and families will serve may be affected by the various influences described below. Just like you've been influenced by your experiences and your past, in both positive and negative ways, so has everyone else, and so will the children that you'll be working with. So this is a chance for you to reflect on ways that things have impacted you, and therefore be more aware of how their experiences might have impacted them. So to do this, like I said, we're using Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, which was discussed in chapter 1. And so if you need further explanation of each one to refresh your memory, here they are right here in chapter 1, starting on page 6. And of course, there are other places you can look up as well, if that would help you. Back to our instructions. So this is just reflection in your brain, notes that you're probably going to take and write down, but nothing that you're turning in on this first part. This is just refreshing your memory on what the microsystem is, the immediate people and relationships that play a major role in a child's life or in anyone's life, but we're thinking about childhood. And so some questions for you to think about and answer on your own. Obviously, it says, did you belong to clubs? For example, Girl or Boy Scouts. Okay, so maybe not Girl or Boy Scouts, but did you belong to any other clubs? Maybe you belonged to 4-H, or maybe you belonged to a church youth group or something like that. Those are clubs, or any other clubs within your school, maybe. So these aren't necessarily specific, but they're to get your brain flowing and think about things. Once you identify those important relationships and experiences, reflect on their importance and the impact, positive and or negative or neutral, that they had on your life. And so again, these are just for your notes on all of these, but there are questions to get you thinking and realizing how each of these systems, how you fit into each of these systems, and to reflect on them. Then the skills and knowledge that certainly hope that you gain from this assignment, like creating a climate of trust and respect, helping you create a knowledge base to work with families in respectful and meaningful ways, understanding how to have meaningful and professional relationships with families and children, and analyzing your own experiences, as well as the experiences of students in class, which we'll do in a future discussion. Will illustrate for you the importance of recognizing that there are many experiences that families provide for their children, and that parenting is not universal. Not everyone is doing it the same way. And hopefully you'll gain the knowledge that assessing the impact of educational, political, and socioeconomic factors on children and families, describing social issues, changes, and transitions that affect children, families, schools, and communities, and describing contemporary social issues and their effects on families and children. So here's what you're actually going to do. Now that you've answered all these questions, hopefully written down some notes and not just in your brain, or even recorded yourself talking about them, that might actually have your brain flowing faster, is to just talk about those things, and nobody will ever have to hear it but you. You're going to create your own ecological model. in some way. It has to include all 5 of the systems of Bronfenbrenner's model, and how these people, places, and experiences have shaped your lives. This is your model. You can use whatever medium best suits the way you would like to express your ecological model. So some people have done a PowerPoint or Google Slides show. You could make a video. You could create a diagram. You could create something in 3D and then make a video of it. If that's something that sparks you. However creative or artistic you are, there's not a limit on this, as long as you address all 5 and reflect on how each of them relates to you. Make sure to include the mesosystem. Those are the connections or the biodirectional influences that also have an effect on you. So if we looked at your textbook, all these little lines are the mesosystems, right? Okay, coming back here. Then once you've made your model, however you're going to do it, you're going to reflect on it. Prepare a reflection to help to make sense of how knowing and gaining a deeper understanding about your personal bioecological model will help to shape your understanding of families that you will be supporting as an early childhood professional. This requires at least 2 pages. That is Times New Roman 12 points, so not small font, and double spaced. When you're going to reflect on what you learned about yourself and how it will influence your teaching. So you can use the following guided questions to write a 2-page summary of what you discovered about yourself, how you will be able to use your discovery in creating engaging and responsive partnerships with families. Think about things like, why were the relationships you identified of significant importance to you? How have these experiences shaped your identity and development? In gaining a deeper understanding of your ecological model, how do you think it will help you understand other families that you will interact with as an early childhood professional? So these are just some ideas to get you flowing, but to me, this fits nicely into a 5-paragraph essay like you probably practiced in high school, right? So you would have an introductory paragraph, and then these could be your body paragraphs, and then a conclusion. Or for length, you might want to break some of these into more than one paragraph. Why were the relationships you identified of significant importance? So you might have a paragraph per relationship that you choose to write about. You might have a paragraph for different ways they have shaped your life. And then how do you think it will help you understand families? That might just be one paragraph, but it might be more because you might want to cite some sources. That's not included in here, but I would think kind of bringing in some sources might help your paper with just kind of have a central idea or at least some support. So however you organize it, please do make sure that you've got paragraphs, not just a solid 2 pages of one paragraph. Organize your paper where it's clear that what each paragraph is about and why those sentences are clumped together. That'll make it much easier to follow and to read. And here's the rubric, what you're going to be graded on. So you've got 20 points for the model itself, another 20 points for your 2-page reflection, and 5 points for grammar and spelling, and 5 points for self-reflection, meaning that it's clear that you looked at the rubric and followed it some. So that is what you're going to be doing next week. What you're doing this week for it, like I said, is just starting your brainstorming. You get to go over this again on your own. You just get to be thinking about the assignment. So this discussion is your place to review and ask questions for clarification. So read over the assignment thoroughly. And as a reply to this discussion board, you can ask any questions that you need clarification on. So please do make sure to ask them here so that other people can get a response too, because you're probably not the only one with a question if you have one. And then the actual assignment will be posted in the next module. You have everything you need to know to start on it if you want. You just don't have a way to turn it in yet. But that is it. Here's an example from a previous class. This person did a PowerPoint. And they did basically a slide per system. Notice they've got a lot of detail here. They did a lot of brainstorming. And then here's the exosystem, and they just continue on. So think about things like this. So when they included this picture because 9/11 is a memory that sticks out in their mind, right? And it impacted their chrono system. So just like today, kids that we're working with were affected by COVID-19, right? And the pandemic. And so some major life events world events do play into things like this. And the mesosystem. Okay, so they explained how all of these have impacted one another. And then not included is the reflection. So this is a PowerPoint. Like I said, you could do anything you wanted. You can get as creative as you want. You can do something like this and make it your own. I think if I were doing it, I would find a way to create something like this maybe, but putting my own, my own things in the macro system, my own things in the exosystem. I'm not sure how I would do it, but to me, like I like seeing this visual. And so I think that would work nicely for me, but I'm not sure how I would go about doing it. So I'll let you figure that out on your own. There are all kinds of tools out there to help you create things. I mean, just even in Word and Google Docs, there are things that you can draw with, but you can also get free subscriptions to things like Canva that helps you create graphics and just all kinds of things. So it needs to, I mean, you can use whatever tool you need to help you create the visual. It just needs to be your own information in the visual. So I hope this has helped. But again, if you have questions, you can absolutely use this message board to ask them.